Hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Heir's Lair. I'm your host, Jonathan Taylor. I'm finally wearing a new shirt, because reasons, and as the title may have already given away, uh, I am going to do something a little bit different for this week's video. Namely, I'm going to be talking about authors whom I've read that I've fallen out of love with, so to speak. What does it mean to have fallen out of love with an author? Well, in my case, or for the purposes of this video, it means that I read through some of their work, found it enjoyable, and then found myself somewhat disappointed by their follow-ups, to the point where I am now less than inclined to seek them out. So if my TBR is ever emptied out, which for now I doubt will actually be the case, then I might seek out their work again. But until then, they are not exactly top of the list, so to speak. Anyway, now that I've cleared that up, as you might be able to tell, this video is very off the cuff. I'm going to start talking about these. I'm going to start talking about these offers, starting with Elizabeth Holland. Holland is actually one of the first offers I actually ever reached out to when I first started out with this channel and with my social media presence more broadly, and and in that time, I've noticed that she has a very specific, not necessarily style, but really collection of motifs. Like she has a very specific story that she very much wants to write, and she sticks to it religiously. I could very easily call. And unfortunately, there isn't really a lot of, or at least I haven't really noticed a lot of variation or a lot of insight being used in how exactly she presents her work. It was interesting when starting out to get into those books to assimilate them. But if you've read one, you'll pretty much know if you'll ever be interested in reading another one of hers. And I've read enough to know that I will not be interested in pursuing her work any further. So for that reason, she is mentioned here. The next offer I want to talk about is Andre Jones. I first read his debut, City of Bridges, again very early in my YouTubing career, and I found myself to be quite impressed by it. Up until somewhere near the end, when it very quickly started to delve into comic book nonsense, and and by comic book nonsense, I mean that it was trying to gender bend and introduce retcons and go deeper into backstories and shit. And yeah, that all of that really took away from the main appeal of the book, which was really was about building up this world of adventure and of being able to smoothly deliver some very interesting, some very engaging action moments and and other such. Unfortunately, rather than sticking with that spirit of adventure and really trying to expand on what it is that he already had, his next books didn't really hit the same resonance, and instead very much doubled down on the comic book nonsense by going deeper into stuff like time travel, like petty politics, and also trying to mix and match genres in a way that didn't really work or that I didn't find to be particularly effective, and the resulting story was just, was just stuff for the sake of stuff. And I have to say, I found myself, I found myself disappointed in how those unfolded. He does have some other books out, but I can't really describe myself as being particularly invested in them. The next offer I want to talk about, somewhat ironically, is Chuck Tingle. Like, yeah, I mentioned him as being an autobiographer in my in my anniversary video, and to an extent he still is, or rather I will say that he is to the same extent that he was when I included him on that list. So me including him in this video is not really, is kind of me falling out of love, but also me saying that I still want us to be friends, so to speak. And now don't get me wrong, because a lot of what I've said so far about the other two offers doesn't really apply to Chuck himself, because Chuck is actually very creative, has plenty of intrigue and insight, and some and some very outlandish and engaging creativity that he knows how to delve into, how to and how to explore, how to present. That is something he does. That is something he does very well, and in a very interesting, very eye-catching manner. So when you read through his books, it's almost always a thrill. It's almost always an experience. What really disappoints me about these books, to the point where I'll say I've fallen out of love with them, is the fact that there is always that one missing piece that that prevents this book from reaching really its apex, its zenith. It always comes very close to being either one of the best, or if not outright the best books I've ever read in a year. And then there is something about it that just fails. I will give him credit, because it is very much in keeping with his entire presentation. He is very consistent with his with his messaging about the importance of love, and how creativity mirrors love, and how sharing your work is an example of love, and really observing that and assimilating that is also counts towards that extent, towards your own personal development, towards the and as being the love that is shown to you. But actually reading through it, that is a somewhat difficult idea to translate, and most of what he does to translate it is just to just to tell it. His actual methods of showing aren't really expanded upon. Still, I will keep up with his work, because at the very least I can still say that he is an intriguing and a creative author who very much spurns my imagination, even if I find the resolutions of his plots to not always be effective. And the last but not least, or it would be better if she were least, of the offers I'll be talking about in this video is Valerie Storm. Like, yeah, I think I already spent the past 8 videos talking about her or her work in some capacity already, and also most of the previous calendar year, 2025. Talking about the Demon Storm book series, and also I just concluded a video mini series where I also talked about this mini series, and what I would have wanted to see get done with it. So, but still, I did mention her in that same video where I mentioned Chuck Tingle being being an auto buy. I also mentioned her being on the cusp of it because I did recognize the potential. She also had plenty of creativity and plenty of heart that went into developing her world, and that went into establishing all of the aspects that made it distinctive, that made it interesting to follow through and interesting to delve into. Unfortunately, she very much she very much just made it up as she went along, and the further along the series went, the more obvious it became, and really it became obvious because it was very clear that she had no clue how to resolve all of the plot points that she created. So instead, she just ended them or wrote them out in some in some kind of capacity, and almost always a disappointing one, if I'm to be if I'm to be perfectly honest. So yeah, I do applaud what it is that she has been able to do so far. I still can't really say I still can't say that I am particularly intrigued by by her work or by what it is that she's able to put on the page. So for that reason, I will not be exploring her. I do not see I do not really see myself exploring her bibliography in the near future. And yeah, that was it. That was my video for today. A little bit, a little bit more off the cuff, a little bit more negative than usual, but oh well. Sometimes you just have to air some things out. I'll come back next week with something a little bit more constructive. Until then, however, thank you for your attention. If you made it this far, if you've if you've enjoyed watching me ramble, well then please like the video. Maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If there's anything you'd like to add, either to the offers themselves or to my comments about them, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. My books, the first of my own Heir to the Empire series, The Next Generation and the Path Not Taken, are available at various book retailers under their respective master links in the description down below, right past my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to. And and given my third book, The Path, Heir to the Empire, The Path Not Taken, is due to be released soon, I do suggest that you check out the social media because who knows, I might just have some more updates on it. Beyond that, I also have a second channel where you can hear me talking about whatever comes to mind, but I'll typically still be talking about media analyses, but of works from outside of print medium. So if that sounds interesting to you, then you can go ahead and check that out. If, however, you want to hear more about my thoughts on the print medium and selected works therein, then I suggest you stay on this channel and go through my extensive backlog, where aside from occasionally bitching about offers, I occasionally bitch about books or praise them, depending on whether they deserve it or not. And I also occasionally do writing advice videos or videos on miscellaneous connected topics. So if that sounds of interest to you, then go ahead and check it out. If none of what I've said has attracted your attention, well then you're free to go ahead and do whatever you want the rest of your day, because it is your day after all. And yeah, that was it from me. So until next time, I'm Jonathan Taylor, and this has been the Heir's Lair.